Make a small presentation, but he has some good idea. Let us hear him before we.
Good evening, all. Good evening, sir. And I really thank CDAC and ECA to give me this opportunity to present it's a kind of a user story. Since I worked in election, or associated with election since 99. So it's my thought work or user stories. So throughout my presentation, so I'll be handling these terminologies like R-voter, it's a remote voter, then remote voter EPIC. Overseas voter is not provided with EPIC. So here I will be stressing on a remote voter EPIC, which is a soft copy. Then electronic form of electoral roll, only for this R voter. And then there will be a remote voting virtual booth. Then e-ballot, the same ballot, it will be in the electronic form, e-ballot. And there will be a number associated with that, alphanumeric number. Then there will be remote voting storage. After the polling, the storage will be stored in a particular thing. Then RV counting, it's a counting process. Then the result sheet, that electronic result sheet, there are various forms which ECA has to place, so that I'll be generalizing as a e-result sheet. And then some people talking about end-to-end verifiability, so that I'll be covering it on a remote voter audit trial. And then there will be dummy e-ballot. So these are all some of the terminologies which I'll be handling in my presentation. So first I will come with that remote voter EPIC. So it's an electronic copy of digitally signed by the electoral registration officer. It's not issued to the voter or remote voter in physical form. It will be only available in electronic form. And the validity in which it's a recommendation. The commission or the policy makers will decide on it. The validity 2 years. Why? Because this remote voter, we don't know where he is and what it is, whether it is diseased or alive. So the validity is being for 2 years. Then stored only in digital locker. Now Government of India comes up with the Digital India program. As part of the digital locker is available to all the citizens. So he has to take a digital locker, and this will be stored in the digital locker, this electronic form. And URI, Universal Resource Indicator, will be provided. Then any renewal or request for registration will also be made online in the Form 6A stipulated by Election Commission. It will be e-sign. Okay, digital locker also provides an e-sign facility to the voter, so he has to apply his e-sign and he can ask for registration and renewal. Then, as part of election mandate, the entire electoral EPIC and this thing, the e-roll has to be provided to the contesting candidate or political party. So the URI will be published to the political party or contesting candidate. Then coming to the electronic form of e-roll, it's nothing but a subset of your mother roll. Contains the supplement and the main roll, things like that. So here we are suggesting some classification, more classification other than that absentee, shifted and deleted votes. The remote voter also will be tested. Why? Because in the beginning session, Mona sir is specifying that attendance-based voting system. So this will be as part of attendance-based voting system, because remote voter is not allowed to vote in the physical polling booth. So for that purpose, again we are preparing mock copy. So here it will be 7 days before the mock copy has to be prepared, and this mock copy will contain the actual extract of the mother roll for that particular part. That will be marked who are all remote voter of that particular constituency of that particular part. Okay, and that person is not allowed to vote. He only allowed to vote on the virtual booth. Then about that, so these are all the requirements. So these details about the electronic form of e-roll and also the URI of the digital locker specifying that EPIC will be shared to the political party. They can have access to that. Then polling, it may be not concentrated on one particular poll day. The reason being is that if it is concentrated on one day, the political party can take undue advantage of that. They bring all these people together and they can influence. It's happened in Goa with my experience. We have made online registration for learner's license. The learner's license kiosk has been completely taken over by the driving school. The person who comes, he puts the people, the thumb impression biometrics has been taken by the individual learners, but the questions are answered by the driving license institute. So to avoid that, let it be a 4 to 7 days, we call it as a whole day, and a time zone. Different countries follows different time zone. So time zone, and then within the time zone there is a full time slot of 4 hours or whatever optimal duration that to be defined. And this particular one poll day, one time zone, one poll time slot will constitute a virtual polling booth, online virtual remote polling booth, and this will be manned by means online, like a kind of a cyber patrol, manned by a presiding officer along with a booth agent kind of thing, so that at the end of the thing and as well as the beginning, they have to set the start of the poll, end of the poll, and they have to take all the scroll who had voted, and they have to apply the digital signature. So it has to be, and they have to carry out the necessary checks and balance as how the presiding officer is doing right now exactly in the actual booth. So similar thing they have to carry out in the virtual booth. Then the voting process continued. Each voter has to enroll with the RVote portal with a requested preferential time slot of their time zone. Then this data has to be pre-filled from the digital locker and as well as from the e-roll, the enrollment and everything on the voting process. Then the system will randomly allot the time slot. That means 1 hour slot is allowed. So system will allot based on the requested that particular time zone and thing on this 4 hour or 6 hour whatsoever. So system will allot only 1 hour time slot. In this 1 hour time slot, you will be intimated by way of OTP, either by SMS, email, and in countries where SMS, email are not instantaneous, automated voice call for this. So this I am proposing in kind of a sliding window protocol in your networking technologies. So that within that time frame, 1 hour before this OTP will be received, within that 1 hour this will be activated once he acknowledges, yes, I received your OTP. If he acknowledges, the time frame will be activated and he has to vote during this time. Again, why we are stressing on this particular time frame, as you queued up in your queue, you are not allowed to wander in that particular polling booth. Once you go there, vote, and then you have to go. So here also the similar case. And second thing, this will give very, very limited chance for the political party or their people to take undue advantage or control among the voter. Then 2 occasions he can ask for preferential slot. If he not voted for some pre-commitment or things like that, the system will allot the 3rd one. Again, it's all up to, we can discuss and then we can arrive at what is the chances given and all this. It's a recommendation. Then about the voting, he will log in, he will cast the vote and submit. I am not touching upon the security, the legal and other aspects because it's just only the modus operandi things like that. As I said, it's just a user story. Anyway, security and legal aspect has to be there in place. But what has to be there, that will be decided by the concerned expert. Then this e-ballot, the request of the e-ballot, the response will be encrypted, not digitally signed, because if it is digitally signed, the individual identity is being revealed, which is against the act. And this once the vote casted ballot will be timestamped. Somebody is telling there will be a coding so that he can reveal end-to-end verification. So here what I am suggesting is that let the identification coding pattern will be mapped at the backend by the storage. Once it receives all this particular e-ballot at 12-digit or whatsoever appropriate alphanumeric thing will be randomly assigned as called as the e-ballot number. Even if you see your ballot paper, it contains a number. So in similar line, there will be a ballot number, but it's a random assignment, contains alphanumeric. Then this remote voting storage is locked by the commission at the end of the poll day, and it will be released at the starting of the counting period. Then about the counting process, RO, ARO shall have access with digital signature certificate so that they can able to access and then display. Then it will be decrypted, the postal ballot, e-ballot will be decrypted and it will be displayed that particular numbers. Then the candidate-wise ballot numbers are printed as part of your e-result sheets. That means candidate A, some 250 numbers will come, whatsoever. Okay, so who got the higher, and it will be tallied. All this necessary calculation, who will be the winner, then the trailing person, all this will be done. But that number will be printed against that particular candidate. And this also will be, and all the other statutory report, whatever generated by the system will be digitally signed by the ARO and the RO, and again kept in the storage for a time frame specified by the commission. Then now this particular, this is how the result will be displayed. Now come to the part that whether that voter will actually check whether I am a voter for the same person. So there is a proverb in Tamil. It says that for a pot of rice, you don't need to verify each and every rice. You just check one or two rice. If it is boiled, that means the whole pot, the rice is boiled. So in the same line, we are proposing something called as a dummy e-ballot. That means it can be randomly picked by the ARO or RO or by the political party or by the contestant who is a resident remote voter, and then these voting proceedings, let it be proceedings will be recorded or videographed so that they are sure. It's anyway it's a dummy ballot. It's similar to your VVPAT test vote. Even VVPAT also we are doing some kind of test vote that will be subtracting at the end of that particular this one. So this also similar thing, the dummy ballot. They can cast that particular vote and it will be recorded, and at the time of counting that number will be displayed, whatsoever the background its number, and that person who are voted using dummy ballot can log in and can note down his particular alphanumeric number and can verify vis-a-vis with the e-result sheet. So it should tally whom he had voted. So this way we can able to verify that, but this verification is on a random basis on for dummy ballots only. He also allowed to vote on real-time basis, and there may be a suggestion from sir that this particular dummy ballot voting on not on a particular timeline, a particular this thing, it may be on a random time frame. That's also a welcoming idea.
I think I need to just remind you about the time.
Sorry, sir. Just
you wanted 5 minutes.
Sorry. Okay. Then, if any voter wants to verify, they are allowed, but at the cost of some rupees. If the cost is high, then only genuine voter will come forward and they will verify. Otherwise, what happens for 2 rupees, anybody can challenge. So that's also there. Even the net exam nowadays it is available for a price of 500. Anybody can get an actual copy, download a copy. So in similar line, any R voter, remote voter can later on they can verify. Thanks. Any questions?
Thank you, Shivraman.
Thank you.
And by end of the session, we are coming to last presentation from one of my